Today we are running 3-5 blend, 3 different chokes. Just like we've done the last couple videos, this is our 5th video in series. The difference today is we are running 2 3/4 inch. So this is 1 1/4 ounce, 1350. This has an upgraded wad in it to keep the pattern really consistent. And I believe that most people underestimate how lethal this little shell is. Again, 1/4 inch. It's all the difference it is between 3 inch and 2 3/4. So we're gonna shoot them down the range. Same exact setup. Factory number 2, Beretta, iMod, Muller Decoying, Carlsons Cremator 718. All right, let's see what it does. 2 3/4 inch, 1 1/4 ounce. Bismuth 3-5 blend, 1350 at 30 yards. Factory Beretta number 2 iMod. Okay. Don't worry about my initial line. When I drew it, I was way off to the side. So we read it in red, still a little off, but let's be honest, this is a really good pattern. This is the difference between the 2 3/4 and the 3 inches. They seem to be a little bit more consistent on their pattern through factory chokes. So the factory chokes have a really hard time when you start getting really heavy. 1 1/4 ounce, look at the pellet count. I'm not going to count it, but I bet you it's very similar to the 1 3/8. And that brings up a really interesting question. Why don't we run 1.5 ounce instead of 1 3/8? When we did testing on it, we ended up with a couple things with the 1.5 ounce. More recoil, more pressure on the gun, no more pellets on target. So we didn't end up with any better pattern when we ran 1.5 ounce, so we ran 1 3/8. But if you look at the pattern here, this is a factory choke. That is a great factory pattern. Number 2 Beretta iMod, 30 yards. Can't argue with that. Muller Decoying, 2 3/4 inch, 3-5 blend. Bismuth, 30 yards. All right, so here's a Muller Decoying, 30 yards, 3-5, 2 3/4 inch. It's okay. Pattern's okay. Again, this is what we see with Muller time and time again. Fairly even distribution of pellets, a wider pattern. So look how much more we have outside of the circle with the Muller on this particular load. And inside's not bad, but it's pretty open, more open than I would personally like to run. So if I wanted to run a Muller in this situation, I probably would run up to the next one. So instead of decoying, I'd go passing. But over this, I'd take the factory. All right, let's go check out the Carlsons Cremator and see how it does. All right, Carlsons Cremator 718, 3-5 blend, just like before, 30 yards. All right, let's talk about the Carlsons Cremator 718 versus the Muller versus the factory. Here's pattern. To me, this is the winner. I would probably say factory number 2, Muller last. Flyers a few, not horrible, pulled it a little bit right. Again, when you run a ported choke, you're gonna get a few more flyers. It just seems to be the way it is all the time. However, you do seem to have a pretty good pattern, and that right there is the winner to me. There's no place in that circle you're not going to kill your bird. And that is obviously the goal. I want to zoom in, but take a look and tell me what you think. Let's talk about what we saw. 3 shots, 3 chokes. All the same, 1.25 ounce, 3-5 blend with our, what we call our Magnum wad, which is a true hunting wad. It's not a sporting clay or trap wad. The wad is specifically meant to keep your pattern consistent close and far. We shot 30 yards today, 30-inch circle. First up was the number 2 iMod factory Beretta. Really solid pattern, no problem with that whatsoever. Number 2, Muller Decoying, arguably the worst pattern of the 3. Still a decent hunting pattern, just a little bit too open for me personally, a little bit blown out. I would definitely run down to the next level. Finally, we've got the Carlsons Cremator 718, which to me had the best pattern. That's the one I would be grabbing if I went to the field. All three are gonna shoot, but you definitely had better patterns out of the first and the last one. So if you have any questions, let us know. Give us a call at the shop. If not, we'll see you next time. Directly after this, we've got tungsten coming up in 12 gauge. We have 20 gauge bismuth, 20 gauge tungsten, and our new 20 gauge true bio, one of probably the only, but let's just say probably one of the only truly biodegradable products in the United States of America. 99.7% biodegradable. Phenomenal. Absolutely my favorite little load. We're finishing up the ballistics on the 12 gauge. Whether we have that for 2025 or 2026 still remains to be seen. However, stay tuned. Tell us what you think. If you have any questions, give us a call at the shop or leave us a comment below.